The entire future of Fortnite is looking absolutely insane, and Season 4 is about to flip the game on its head. And not only the season, but the brand new modes dropping right alongside it. You already know Epic's pattern by now. Every time a new chapter kicks off, they throw in fresh game modes. Chapter 5 gave us all those metaverse modes, from racing to festival, which honestly did not play out well. But on the horizon, Chapter 8 is lining up its own big one, that's already starting to spill its secrets. First things first, let's start with Season 4, which starts in less than a month. According to leakers with a spotless track record, Season 4 is built around gaming legends. It's a complete collab season, in the same spirit as Chapter 2 Season 4, when Galactus took over the whole thing with Marvel, or Chapter 5 Season 4 that went all in on Marvel again with Doctor Doom. This time it plays out like that stretch right before the Zero Crisis, except now it's gaming icons flooding onto the island. How do we get to this season, you ask? Simple. The 0 point is destabilized right now. It's getting knocked totally off balance, which is exactly why the 7 are scrambling to build the stabilizer. The real question is whether that thing actually holds, and it does not look promising. Everything points to the 0 point spiraling even harder and ripping open portals into other worlds, and those worlds are packed with crossovers. Brace yourself, because word is, Season 4 brings collabs with Mega Man, Crash Bandicoot, Kingdom Hearts, and a whole lineup beyond that. Picture the season back in Chapter 2, when Fortnite crammed a ridiculous number of crossovers into one battle pass. Jonesy fired up his Rift device and pulled in the Terminator, the Xenomorph, threw in Street Fighter, and straight up the Mandalorian. That's the energy here, only this time we could be getting the most requested collabs in the game's history. Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the biggest names in gaming, and there's a real chance it finally shows up in Season 4. The Battle Pass started leaking too, and from those same sources, the Season 4 pass is rumored to headline Sonic. Epic already confirmed he's coming to the game, and now it sounds like Season 4 is where he lands, sitting right at the top of the pass as the marquee crossover. That would be massive. Better yet, he wouldn't just be some sidekick. We're talking a full character skin. Either they stretch his legs out so he stands at normal skin height, or they stick him in a mech suit the way they've handled every other character who was too tiny to fit the game. Like the current season, Season 4 is loaded with content drops, 4 updates in total. That number could shift, and maybe they tack on a 5th, but 4 alone tells you this is a heavyweight season and not some filler stretch. But Season 4 isn't the only thing that's spilled. Chapter 8 might have already leaked, and it sounds absolutely lunar. Cast your mind back a few years to when Donald Mustard dropped a video and quietly buried the words "Last Reality" into the background. Not long after, we met the aliens, the Last Reality, the Cube Queen, the Herald, and the Nothing. That whole faction became our sworn enemy, the crew that wrecked us back in the day, and honestly still has us on the ropes today. Years later, somebody new picked up that torch, and it's Chris over at Epic Games. He's basically running the same playbook Mustard used to, except he's doing it even sharper. The guy drops flat-out deranged story hints, and lately he's been teasing the Nothing directly. Ever since Chapter 7 kicked off, the clues have been everywhere. Eyes staring back at us, signs and billboards whispering that the Nothing is watching, that there's nothing to see here, with the word "nothing" standing in for the entity itself. Those boards are still scattered across the island talking about it, and the Nothing has never once been teased this aggressively. On top of that, he didn't just tease the Nothing showing up, he teased the final reality. My read, and a lot of people are landing on the same idea, is that Chapter 8 is the final reality. We've spent this entire journey inside Reality Zero, the reality of the 0 point, the place where everything began. Well, there's a mirror image of that. The final reality, the command center, the home base of the Last Reality aliens. If Chapter 8 really is set there, we might finally go toe-to-toe with the true Last Reality, meaning the Nothing itself, backed by the Queen we've never managed to beat, and the Herald who's almost certainly still breathing. That would be an unreal payoff to a storyline Epic started building years ago, right before they flip the page and start writing something brand new, because we're genuinely closing in on the end of the tale we've been fed all this time. We pretty much know the score. Geno got introduced recently, the mastermind sitting at the top of the whole operation, so the only piece still missing is the last reality. Sure, the Dark Voyager is floating around, but he's just a trooper, not the head of the last reality, which leaves the Nothing as the final name yet to appear. Now, I mentioned earlier that every recent chapter has shipped with a fresh, one-of-a-kind game mode, and you're going to get details on this one faster than expected. A brand new mode on that scale, and it's an extraction mode. A Disney extraction mode, to be precise. Info is already trickling out. The whole thing is wrapped around a Disney theme. And I've got a strong feeling that the first season of this mode, or chapter, is going to tie straight into Marvel. Because as we know, this extraction mode has to land sometime in November, and that aligns perfectly with the Doomsday movie release. So I guess to build up the hype around it, and knowing it's a Disney mode, there's a strong possibility it's going to be Marvel themed at the start. Fortnite has literally never done an extraction mode before, and honestly, it fits this season perfectly, where the whole point is extracting sprites. The twist is that here you're extracting weapons and materials to craft stronger gear. Basically, we're getting our own Arc Raiders, just soaked in Disney flavor. And you won't be waiting long for details, because next month brings a special Disney event called D23. That's where Fortnite tends to reveal its huge Disney Universe news, so there's a solid chance we hear fresh info on the Epic and Disney metaverse they've been cooking, plus more on this extraction mode arriving at the tail end of the year. So over the next few weeks and months, expect an avalanche of details about where Fortnite is headed and what 2027 looks like. And not just crazy updates and gameplay, but on the story front as well. So is the Runners season the last one in Chapter 7? After the Shattered Live event, which wrapped up Season 2, Fortnite basically split into a clear before and after. The Zero Point came back to life, and with it, the island's worst nightmare returned too. Where did the Foundation go? Is it true Jonesy isn't coming back? And when does Chapter 8 start? Turns out, this whole time it was Geno hiding under the mask of the Visitor from the OG reality. And despite that epic throwdown between the Foundation and the Ice King, the one who walked away the real winner was, big surprise, the Dark Voyager. There were a ton of hints that Cubehead was gonna stab his icy buddy in the back. I broke a bunch of them down in past videos, so I don't know about you. But for me, the betrayal itself wasn't shocking at all. How the Voyager did the Ice King dirty, though, that's a whole different story. The Ice King's situation is crystal clear. Sucks to say it, but you can stop counting on him coming back. As for the Foundation, his fate is still a mystery. After taking another beatdown from the King, and losing his helmet for the second time, the Rock dropped off the radar. But we can say for sure he's not dead. The post-event thumbnail showing his helmet hints at it. And so do the files data miners dug up, because at some point a Foundation NPC is going to show up on the island. Plus, one of the challenges has us hunting for his busted helmet. So no need to sweat it over the big guy. Jonesy, though, is in way rougher shape. While the Foundation and the Loopers were dealing with the Zero Point, Jonesy and the Visitor were coordinating our moves from HQ. Except Blondie had no idea that his old boss was the one hiding under that Visitor mask the whole time. And by the looks of it, Geno's been holding a serious grudge, so he sent Jonesy on a forced little vacation. The island flip, the blown-up collider, his daughter's death, all those long years wandering the galaxy, Geno clearly hasn't forgotten any of it. You can tell because he knows Jonesy's name and his exact job. So now our legend is rotting away in a recovery pod with a hole in his gut, while Visitor Geno is masterfully running his best friends like puppets. We'll dig into that story separately, but for now drop a get well soon Jonesy in the comments. That revenge isn't gonna take itself. So what's the deal with the Zero Point? And why did the island get so wrecked? Here's the thing. Just like I called it, the Voyager used his harvester like a giant power bank to revive the Zero Point. But firing it up triggered a wave of anomalies all over the island. The Voyager actually managed to overload the Zero Point, which is what blended the island with other dimensions. But his plan hit a snag too. Cubehead never got to finish the experiment because we chopped his battery in half, just in time. And the thing that helped us pull it off was the Singularity, who somehow managed to deliver the Infinity Blade and her message to us through the Zero Point. Pure magic. No other way to explain it. Right now, the epicenter is stuck in a kind of limbo. On one hand, it's fully assembled and even showing signs of life. On the other hand, it's super unstable, and according to Hope, it could blow at any second and rip open a fresh black hole. So where does that leave us? A dead king, a missing foundation, a barely alive Jonesy, and a massive bomb in the shape of the 0 point. And behind all that chaos stands Geno. The crazy part is how the former leader of the Imagined Order played everyone so perfectly. And the big question is what he's planning next. If anybody still hasn't caught on, nobody except us and Jonesy knows that Geno is the one behind the visitor mask, which means our friends have all become his hostages without even realizing it. If you walk up to Geno as Jonesy, he drops this creepy line about how it feels to rot in that pod while he plays Puppet Master with your innocent little lambs. But here's the wild part. Talk to him in any other skin and Geno acts all torn up that he couldn't protect the legend. Basically, in the snakiest, rattiest dude on the island contest, this guy is running away with the trophy. So now the whole girl squad is at Geno's beck and call, doing whatever he says. For example, he's got Dr. Sloan working on a device that's supposed to stabilize the epicenter. The build, by the way, is going up on a mountain near the 0 point, and that wonder weapon might just be where the season finale event goes down. Throw your guesses for what Sloan's actually putting together in the comments. The one having the hardest time in this crew right now is Hope. She was the most attached to Jonesy out of all of them, and now our girl is throwing everything she's got into getting her power of foresight back and figuring out who's really behind the hit on the legend.
I'm having trouble with my visions. Can you help me investigate? Someone is listening to us. That's not good.
But between investigations, Hope is obviously daydreaming about her boyfriend Kendo, because if you talk to her in the Kendo skin, she lets out this sad little sigh and says it'd be really nice if Kendo were around right now, so shippers, you can breathe easy. The romance between those two clearly isn't over yet, and after the latest update, Peely joined Hope's corner too, totally heartbroken over his best friend. Honestly, that whole spot with Jonesy's pod has turned into a full-on memorial for the legend, with loopers from every corner of the island bringing flowers and balloons, and Peely and Fishstick even drew get well cards. The whole island is waiting for Jonesy to wake up and refusing to give up hope. What Geno's gonna do when that happens is the open question, since the legend knows exactly who he is. But pulling the strings on the girls and building his contraption is only part of Geno's bigger plan. His main target this season is the 0 point itself. The thing is, Sloan's device alone can't restore it. Geno needs one more key ingredient, and that ingredient, as you probably already guessed, is those sprites we've been chasing all over the island, and he's not collecting them for some personal collection. Geno has very specific plans for these little guys, and the kicker is, he basically handed those plans straight to Dr. Sloan. Walk up to Sloan and strike up a conversation, and she'll lay out Geno's whole scheme without even realizing it.
Looper, you're on comms with the 0 point stabilization team. You'll be our eyes and hands out in the field.
Tread carefully. All of reality ends if we fail.
Ah yes, that old chestnut. Too bad that it's true every time.
According to her, the sprites are basically the 0 point children's, and they didn't just appear for no reason. They showed up the moment the 0 point started spewing out its energy uncontrollably after the event. To stabilize it, this entire daycare has to be rounded up, meaning every sprite on the island gets caught and sent back home straight into the 0 point. So every time you evacuate a sprite, you're personally handing the epicenter back a piece of its power. Which means, whether we like it or not, we're the ones helping Geno pull off his plan. But our farming alone isn't enough to fully restore the 0 point. Just dumping sprites back into is like filling the tank of a car with no engine. And that's exactly what the wonder weapon Geno and Sloan are building on the hill is for. The way Sloan designed it, the thing works like a stabilizer that'll finally snap the 0 point back to its original form. Sounds like the perfect plan to save the world, right? Except there's one catch, and that catch is Geno himself, because he is definitely not restoring the 0 point out of love for our island. The most obvious theory is that he wants to bring back the order and take the 0 point under his personal control again, and a stable epicenter in his hands is basically the master key to every reality at once. But don't go packing your bags and bailing on the island just yet. Even with all that, we've still got a shot, because the new 7 are showing up real soon. Right now, almost every character on the island keeps saying the Seven aren't really the Seven anymore, and they're 100% right. After the Foundation went missing and the Visitor's identity got blown, Order is the only one left from the original lineup. And she's fully aware of how bad it's gotten, because she straight up says she feels like she's all alone in the universe. The good news is, Epic dropped a few fat hints that the Seven are about to get a fresh roster. The new Seven sprite is apparently already officially on the team. The description from the new Seven set says it in plain text. On top of that, I'm 100% sure that the second Jonesy finally wakes up, he's gonna lead the rebuilt squad. And most importantly, he'll finally claim the title of Legend for real. That's when a completely different game begins. By my read, the new team is gonna include Sloan, Hope, and the Singularity. All the right candidates are already on hand. Plus, the latest update gave Sloan a style with a 7 helmet, so even if it's probably just temporary, she'll be joining the squad. And from there, maybe they'll dig up the missing Foundation somewhere too. Assuming he even agrees to rejoin after all his bonehead screw-ups. And then the Seven would have just one spot left for a full roster. Who's gonna fill it? $1 million question. But something tells me Epic's got an interesting surprise cooked up for that one too. And they're the Seven, Geno's biggest threat. For a while, the big bad manages to keep them away from his plans. Until one day, Jones, who at the time was working for the Imagined Order, decides to betray his crew and call in the Foundation, the leader of the Seven.
I know you have no reason to trust me, but... Oh no. Hang on! Let's talk! Let's talk! Geno! I can get you to Geno.
This new alliance kicks off the war between the Seven and the Imagined Order, and it brings out some essential characters for understanding Geno, like Sloan, the group's top scientist, who also gives us our very first glimpse of what Geno looks like. On the flip side, we also meet the Order and the Imagined, who are Geno's daughters, and who his organization is literally named after. They were genetically engineered to be perfect from birth, but that didn't pan out the way he wanted. And over time, the two sisters end up joining the Seven to stop their own dad. We see this play out in the Marvel comics, which wrap up on a page that reveals Geno has already regenerated. And here's a big detail. Dr. Doom works for Geno in those comics. I'm pointing that out because, more than likely, the vast majority of villains we've seen in Fortnite have worked or are still working in the shadows for him. After the Season 3 final live event with this new island created, Geno is forced to run his plan B, use this new world to create the Oathbound, led by a loop copy of himself and Stellan, two essential characters who've carried us all the way here. Same perfectionist vision, but seen through the lens of a man with honor, represented by a medieval character who only uses battle to protect the world he wants to defend. This alternate origin also explains how Geno's personality evolved, because the man who now does literally anything for control and the pursuit of perfection started out only wanting to make the world a better place. But over time, he came to believe that'd be impossible unless he's the one shaping it.